How's it going, everybody? It is Pilot Flame, and we are back with another deadline stream. Yeah, bit rough this one because didn't get too much sleep after feeling full from a very festive day yesterday. Having quite a lot of food, it was quite nice. So yeah, had a good day. It was good. Had a bunch of fun. And yeah. Hopefully you all did too. So Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate in your family. And hopefully you had a very good day and was able to see, some of your family members at least, because I know it is tougher times. But at the end of the day, hopefully this time next year, everything's back to normal-ish, as it were. But yeah, hopefully you all had a good festive day. My hair is all out of place today. And it's going to stay that way probably because I had on a Santa hat yesterday. So I'm just going to put the Santa hat straight back on when I go to watch United and stay in the festive period. So without further ado, let's get into it. So we are discussing the Gameweek 15 deadline, which I forgot to change the title. Always forget one thing. That's usually how it works. Oh, it's perfectly centered already. Love it. Good. Okay. So we have our team up on the screen here. So we've already made 2 transfers. One of them was one you would have seen earlier in the week, which would have been Chilwell to Robertson. That was pretty straightforward, having seen Chilwell go off injured. Not really needing to know the news, but if a player usually goes off injured very early on, they're probably not going to make it back next week for that game. And it was Arsenal, and although Arsenal haven't been great, they are still, a bigger club, and we'll probably end up putting up a fight. But it was too easy to not just do Robertson from Chilwell to Robertson, and it made the move even easier, which we had scheduled to do anyway. Now, our unplanned move was Lamptey not playing this week coming. So we had to take him out. We took him out for Kufau, who's somebody we're going to have on our wildcard team anyway. But we got a little value on him, which is quite nice. And then the last headache that we have to deal with is, do we want to take another hit to get rid of Danny Ings, who isn't completely flagged? He is got an orange flag on him. Haven't seen him train yet, but could potentially play. Now, if we take him out for a hit, we bring Calvert-Lewin, and Calvert-Lewin scores at least once, which he very well could, because Sheffield United. Then we're okay. If Calvert-Lewin scores twice, then we're looking real good. So we just have to hope that some other players cover up our weaknesses there. But is the 4 points worth just saying, sod it, I'll just put Burke or Taylor or somebody like that in the team? I mean, Everton have a lot of players potentially out. But, could be a situation where Calvert-Lewin just still does well. We never know. We will never know. But, yeah. So in terms of price rises, don't really have to worry about too much. Well, Chilwell is apparently 300%, but that's fine. Price rise is just constant going down, and Chilwell going down, but going up doesn't look like anyone as of yet, so I ain't got to worry about that today. We'll have to check it later, obviously, but should be fine. But actually, let's check our price rise situation. So let's go over to the transfer screen here. So we gained 0.1 on Trent already. We lost, unfortunately, 0.1 on Kilman. which wouldn't mind Wolves keeping a clean sheet today or tomorrow whenever they play versus Spurs, and Kilman plays, which would, be bad because we have a clean sheet on our bench, but at least before I go to sell him, he might go up in price. Who knows? We might get that extra 0.1 that we had, because we bought him at 4.1. He was 4.3 for the longest time, and would be nice to obviously have that. We got 0.1 on Kufal so far. Grealish we got at 7.6. He's now 7.8, which is good. Salah we have 0.2 on him, which is real good because he's 12.6. De Bruyne, he'll probably, if he does well, he'll go back up probably before I finish the wild card. At least that's the hope. Burke went up to 4.4 from 4.3, which is nice to see. Bamford we have 0.2 on. Ings we bought him at 8.3, so him going down last night doesn't really matter. And Chatham's going up 0.1. Doesn't really affect us too much because I think we're probably going to keep him on the wild card, but we'll have to see. On that front. One thing I wanted to see if I can find. Is there any more Danny Ings news? Because having that news would be very important. If we can get it. Let me see if I can scour Twitter for potential Danny Ings news. Because that would be a very, if I knew he was out for sure and I knew I was guaranteeing myself, points with getting Calvert-Lewin and Danny Ings not playing, then I would definitely rather play, a 4-point hitted Calvert-Lewin in, than, the likes of Burke or Taylor versus, Leeds, but doesn't look to be the case here. I don't see any news on that, which is unfortunate. But let's go back and take a quick peek at the current team. So, like I said, we brought in Robertson and Kufal. We have Sanchez in goal. So, Ayling, Robertson, Kufal, all home fixtures apart from our goalkeeper. In defense, which is quite good. Then we have De Bruyne, vice captain, Salah captain, Fernandes, Grealish. And then we have Bamford, Adams, Ings with Burke, Taylor, and Kilman on the bench. So, obviously, the only other change would be Ings out and Calvert-Lewin in. And he would just come into the team and slot in. So, yeah, that would be the only other transfer. Let's take a quick peek at the fixtures to see who's playing today. So, we got the big one right off the bat, which is either going to make or break my day, which is United versus Leicester. And I don't like when United plays first, because if they don't do well, then it's going to make me mad for the rest of the day. But I think United can do well. I think it's a very good fixture to start off Boxing Day, and if United win it, they go into second with a game in hand, which is quite crucial. Aston Villa versus Palace and Fulham versus Southampton. I think this is better because of the fact that, if I had transferred out Ings and he'd played Sunday, that'd be super annoying for me. Because of the fact that I would know, like, if I got news like late Saturday that, oh yeah, he's gonna play, that would be quite frustrating. But we just need to make sure we have our bench in order, which we do. We want to play the attacker, even though, Ollie Burke is a bit weird. He's usually on the bench or doesn't come on, or he's on from the start and gets subbed like 60 minutes or something. So hopefully that's the case. If he does start, maybe he gets a goal. That'd be nice. If Ings doesn't play, that is. But the one nice thing is that we'll know if Ings is playing or not because he plays first. which is good. And Ings plays, if he does play, will play before Burke, who's our first sub, Taylor, who's our second sub, and Kilman, who's our third sub. So, which is quite good. So yeah, Aston Villa, Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace coming off a absolute drumming from Liverpool, 7-0. So maybe Villa can follow suit. Apparently, Ross Barkley's supposed to be back, or was scheduled to be back during this time. Whether he is and how fit he is could be much left to be desired or hoped for. But I think with Barkley in the team, it makes Grealish a much better attacking threat, because instead of Grealish driving with the ball and then laying it off to El Ghazi, it's Barkley driving with the ball and laying it off to Grealish, which is what we want. We want Grealish to be in on goal and getting shots inside the box and assists and all that sort of stuff. And hopefully attacking output. The London derby, Arsenal versus Chelsea. This could be pretty straightforward for Chelsea, I think, because even without Chilwell and James, who are unlikely to feature, they just have too much for Arsenal. Arsenal's squad just isn't good, to putting it bluntly. You have Aubameyang, who might not even play. Lacazette's awful. Nketiah's too young and inexperienced. Saka's young and inexperienced, but is a good player. Martinelli's a big boost for them because I think he's a real good talent and is playing well. He's put the best cross that Arsenal's probably seen in the last 5 years, and when they played versus City, and Lacazette wondered how the ball hit off his head and went in the goal. And they have Tierney, who does well, but without Partey, they can't really play the way they want to play. And leaving out Ozil just doesn't make sense to me in their squad. So, yeah, they're in real trouble. I think Chelsea burned them for a couple today at least. And I think Chelsea probably keep a clean sheet. City versus Newcastle. Now, this fixture, historically, in the past couple of Premier League seasons, has been one of two ways. It's either super cagey, and it's like a 2-1 either way. It can end up being a draw depending on who takes the chances, or City just thrash them like a 5-0 type, ordeal. So that'd be interesting to see. So I know a lot of people are swaying towards KDB captained, which is a good pick in its own right. And I would say yes if you don't have a Liverpool player like Salah or Mane, because I think that Liverpool versus West Brom is probably the best fixture this week, period, that you're going to probably get. Sheffield United versus Everton at the same time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin could be in amongst the goals, because I think Sheffield United, the stat was that they have conceded the most headed attempts, or up there for conceding the most headed attempts of any team, which is right down Everton's alleyway, because they have the likes of Yerry Mina, they have the likes of Calvert-Lewin, they have the likes of Michael Keane. They have a bunch of players who are very good in the air. I think they're going to be potentially missing Richarlison, which is a big miss because of the fact that he came off midweek with what looked to be concussion. He was pretty out of it when he got hit accidentally when he went for an aerial duel. He was pretty out of it. So yeah, hopefully he recovers well. But if they are missing him, that's a big miss for them, because they don't have Digne. They do have Seamus Coleman back. I'm not sure if Alan is back. James Rodriguez, I think, is out for this game and the next game. So, again, big miss creativity-wise in there. Leeds versus Burnley. I can only really see this going one way, with Leeds, winning this. Burnley will be, probably under the cosh. But Leeds are very susceptible to set pieces, so wouldn't be surprised if Sean Dyche's tactic is literally, hey guys, we're going to send the ball up to you, win us a free kick or two, we'll get 2 goals, and we'll put this Leeds team to bed. and we'll show them what defending and, basically, uh, you know, the Burnley way is all about. But we'll see. I think Leeds will be too much for them. West Ham versus Brighton. I think West Ham will win this pretty comfortably. I think I predict 2-0. Yeah, Brighton are just terrible. Maybe Danny Welbeck pulls something out, but probably not too much in it there. Liverpool versus West Brom. This is the fixture everyone's looking for, captaincy wise. Salah captained. We're hoping it's an absolute drumming. Probably a free clean sheet if you went for a double. So if you went from Reece James and Chilwell to Trent and Robertson this week, good on you. I think it's a great idea. And I think you're probably almost guaranteed a clean sheet and some attacking returns of some kind. And it's going to be a massive differential because I don't think Robertson and Trent are very well owned. Robertson's on 22%, but I think Trent is a little bit lower. Yeah, 14%. So that combination is probably in the single digits, low single digits with Salah. So if you get like a 3-4-0, maybe an assist from each fullback, Salah gets a brace or something like that, and you get a clean sheet, you're looking at pretty good points. Hey, Neep, how's it going? Glad that you can join us. Glad that you can join us. Also would like to shout out the emotes that we have on offer if you choose to subscribe to the channel. It is not required, but it is definitely appreciated. But also give us a follow on all of our other socials as well, Twitter and subscribe on YouTube as well. Because, and especially here, make sure to follow us definitely on here if you haven't done so already, because we're going to be doing a stream tomorrow where I'm going to be having my wild card. So be sure to stick around for that. It's going to be 7 p.m. EST tomorrow. So it's going to be like a few hours after the Wolves Spurs game. And then we're also going to be doing the deadline stream the day after that. So 3 streams back to back to back. So should be a lot of fun. Yeah, should be good. Can't wait for it. I'm gonna be all over the shop that day. Might even have to bring myself a beverage or two to get me through it potentially. Of the alcoholic or non-alcoholic type, depending on your preference. For me personally, it's probably gonna be something that goes in this Gatorade bottle, which is somewhat see-through. But we will have to see. Don't really drink sweet drinks too much anymore. Mind you, I did have a soda for the first time in probably several months yesterday, so that was interesting, and it made me quite full. So don't want to do that again because I almost spoiled my dinner. But we're sidetracked here. Pilot's thoughts on KDB captain? I think he's definitely the next best option. I think personally, and we'll get onto the stats on that in just a bit. That he's probably better than Mane. It could be better than Salah as well. But the fixture would warrant that West Brom are terrible enough that Salah is going to get something. And something in bunches is usually what we want. So let's just take a look at this last fixture here. So Wolves versus Spurs. Could be a 1-1, could be a 0-0. Could be a 1-0 either way. It's probably going to be quite low scoring, I think. Both teams are, a bit out of sorts at the moment, so we'll have to see on that front. But I think I favor Spurs in this one. Between Salah and Mane, I think Salah definitely beats Mane, no problem. It's just a matter of between KDB and Mane, I think, for second. Let's actually check that out. So if we go to the XGI and attacking output table here, so I'm going to move this over so you can see what we have going on here. So if you don't know, this is from the Fantasy Football Scout members area. You can see the little logo peering out in the bottom corner here. This is a table that I've created, and I've sorted it by XGI, which is expected goal involvement, so the likelihood that the player should have scored or assisted. This is the last 4 game weeks, so this is game week 11, 12, 13, and 14. And Kevin De Bruyne is top. He has an expected goal involvement of 3.53 from game week 11 to game week 14. If we go and look at Kevin De Bruyne really quickly, he has in the last 4 game weeks a goal and 2 assists. So he should have been expected to score maybe an extra half a goal or an assist. But his XG delta, which means his number of goals subtracted off his expected goals that he should have scored, he should have at least scored an additional goal by now, based on that number. So he's definitely getting the chances. So he's created 5 big chances. He's got 3 big chances himself. He's created 14 chances. He's got 14 shots, which I believe is second most, only behind Harry Kane in that period. And shots inside the box, he is third, behind Vardy and then Werner and Mane, who are tied. But in terms of total big chances, Vardy, Sterling at the top, with De Bruyne and Salah next in line. But if we look at in terms of accuracy, which is a bit weird because last season what we thought of Sadio Mane and Salah was Salah takes a lot of shots. A lot of them are errant, as in like they're off target. But he does take a lot of shots, and he takes penalties when Milner wasn't on the pitch. But this season, Salah's the more accurate one, taking slightly less shots, and is on penalties, and that's shown in the stats here in the last 4 game weeks. So look, Salah's shots inside the box, 7. Shots on target, 10. So pretty much all the shots inside the box are on target, pretty much, which is what you want. And his XG delta non-penalty is 3.05, which means he scored an extra 3 goals than what he probably should have, based on his shots. And that's exemplified by the fact that he curled one in the top corner when coming on as a sub as well. So Kufal had a baby boy. Happy Christmas to him. Yeah, I did see that, and I got a little bit worried for a second. I was like, is he going to play? And then I think probably he's going to play, because apparently it was like first thing Christmas morning. So hopefully everything is good with the baby, and hopefully he can go out there and give it a nice day 1 birthday gift, as it were, or day 2 birthday gift. For his newborn and his girlfriend or wife. I'm not sure if it's his wife or his girlfriend, but his partner. Bowen and Kufal could be good. I do like that combo. But if we look at and then if we look at Mane's numbers, he's taking more shots inside the box, 12 compared to Salah's 7, but he's only got 4 on target. So he's the one shooting more, but is a lot more erratic. You have to bench one of them. Ooh, yeah. Surely you can't bench one of those two. Surely there's somebody else that's worth benching. I'd have to see the full team, but I wouldn't bench either of those two unless I saw the whole team and then you said, okay, yeah, sure. But yeah, I would have to see the whole team for that, because I don't think you should bench either of those two, to be honest. But yeah, and then Vardy's versus United. He typically scores against the Big 6 teams, or what's traditionally known as the Big 6. And he's been right on point with his XG, delta non-penalty, and XG, and his top of or second of goal involvement. And yeah, it's just something where I think Vardy could do well as well against United. So we will have to see on that front. Now, let's move back. I think I closed out the transfer screen, but that's fine. Just open another tab there. But yeah, we've already taken a -4 this week. We brought in Kufal. And I don't see any news on Ings, and I hope he plays because I think it was a good fixture that I was targeting for this run. He went down in price, but that doesn't really affect me personally. So I think that if he does play, we'll obviously know right away. I'm not going to get any news if he will or not because of the fact that, you know, the deadline's going to surpass before that. I'll check just before we finish up here. But hopefully Ings plays. Here we go. McCarthy, Diaz, Dyer, Kufal, and Bednarek. Grealish, KDB, Bowen, Bruno, Riedewald, Bamford, Kane, DCL. So you're playing Bamford, you're playing Kane, you're playing DCL. You're playing McCarthy. You're playing Diaz. Are you playing Dyer versus Wolves? You're definitely playing Grealish. You're definitely playing KDB. You're definitely playing Bruno. And I think you're definitely playing Bowen. For sure. Personally, I wouldn't play Dyer versus Wolves. That's just my opinion. I'd probably play Bednarek. The thing is, Bednarek can always just get a set piece like Vestergaard could. Whereas Dyer, I can't see the same thing happening for Spurs. He's just there for a clean sheet, and I don't think Wolves are basically going to be kept quiet versus Spurs. I think they'll probably score. They always seem to do that. But yeah, I wouldn't play Dyer personally if I had that team. I would play Bednarek, Kufal, and Diaz. But that's just me. Let's take a look at the goals imminent table so we can see who's potentially up on the scoring block here. So, this is basically players that have missed big chances or had a lot of big chances in recent weeks and are expected to have scored. And we have a lot of big names on here. So in terms of XG Delta, we're going to organize it by the worst, which is Timo Werner. So he should have scored 2.33 more goals in that time. KDB captain is the best choice for that team. 100%, I would say. Because if you don't have Salah or Mane, KDB is the next best option. And I think he's going to do well as well. KDB could get brace assists, so can Salah. And then when you're looking at it from either side, you're still alright. And KDB has the underlying stats to show that he should be doing a lot better. And with Jesus and Kyle Walker out, then the likelihood is they'll play Cancelo and Mendy, probably, which is good. And they'll play Aguero maybe, which is good because then you have someone clinical up front to put in KDB's chances that he's playing into the box. KDB's also top for goal attempts with 14. So Werner's on here, Calvert-Lewin's on here, KDB's on here, Ings is on here, Martial's on here, Rafinha, Saka, Bowen, mentioned him previously, Grealish and Mane are all on here. So there's so many players on here that are high-profile names: Werner, Calvert-Lewin, De Bruyne, Martial, Ings. I have, and this is the annoying thing. Both Ings and Calvert-Lewin on here. It's almost like it's mocking me. It knows that I have to choose between the two, which is a bit unfortunate. Thanks, Pilot. Merry Christmas to you and to you as well, or any holiday festive things that you do over this period. Hope you enjoy them. But yeah, Bowen's on there. I think it's a good pick this week. Rafinha, someone I'm looking at to potentially bring my team on the wild card. And I can't wait to hit the wildcard button the second this game week starts, because I'm going to be slamming players into my team immediately. So that in the worst case scenario, I still have at least a team. Let's actually take a look at, because since we're talking about captaincies, let's look at team offensive and defensive stats. So what I've sorted this by is number of big chances created. Oh, my chair's a little bit in the way, so you can't see West Brom way down the bottom there, who are bad. Are creating big chances. So if we take a look at Chelsea's up top with Man United, Man City, Liverpool, all up top for big chances that they're getting. But if we sort it by XG non-penalty, Liverpool is way exceeding that. 7 extra goals than what they should have had. Man United's up there with almost 4. But if you look at Chelsea, Chelsea actually probably should have scored 1 more with the amount of big chances that they've had. Brighton was also up there. They should have scored around 4 more goals than what they should have had. So, you know, big chances don't mean everything. In terms of like defensive stats, goal attempts conceded inside the box, Leeds is up there, West Brom's up there, Burnley's up there, Sheffield United's up there, and Spurs are up there. So let's see, will this, and the big chances conceded, Leeds, Sheffield United, and West Brom are all up in the top 5. But does this translate over to what we would consider as a whipping boy, which means basically a team that just gets slapped by multiple goals every game? So this is a table sorted by XG conceded, which you can't see because it's just off. It's to the right of this column over here, but I can tell you that Leeds is XG conceded over the last 4 game weeks, so 11 to game week 14, is 10.78, and they are 2 clear of Sheffield United, which is 8.22. And if you look at big chances conceded, Leeds are at 19. Goals conceded, they've conceded 13, the most among any team. Headed attempts conceded, they're the most with 22. Goal attempts overall conceded, they're the most with 78. Goal attempts conceded inside the box, they're the most with 58. Leeds are literally the crappiest defense. So if you do have a Burnley attacker like Chris Wood not be surprised for him to score. But if we look where West Brom is on that list, so big chances conceded, so they're 5th among them. What's that? 1, 2, no, 6th. So they're up there. Goals conceded, 2nd worst. Goal attempts in the box conceded, 2nd worst at 58. Headed attempts conceded, 2nd worst with 16. And then XG conceded, their 3rd worst. So there's also an argument for Calvert-Lewin captain as well, based on the defenses. But I think West Brom is definitely the worst. And if we look at where Newcastle is, big chances conceded, down to the bottom half, only 5. Goals conceded, Newcastle's in the top 7 with 7. But they've only conceded 5 big chances and conceded 7 goals, so you can say that they've been a bit unlucky. XG conceded, Newcastle only 4.34. So they've conceded 7 goals, but you know, should have only conceded 4.34 goals, which is, you know, you could say that they're unlucky. I know they have a really good goalkeeper in Darla, and then maybe they've just been susceptible to really good strikes. So we shall see on that front. My relegation prediction, as it stands now, it's weird because I'm a bit torn. Let me actually bring over the current table as it stands. If I could type. So we should be able to see that if I can get it mostly on the screen without it snapping over to one side. It's actually not West Brom. I don't think West Brom's going to go down. I think it's going to be Sheffield United for sure. I'm pretty sure they're going to be last, almost certainly. I think Brighton's in real trouble because Brighton can't score. They play all this nice football, which just means that they're just going to become Norwich. And if anyone watched the Premier League last season, Norwich came up playing nice, beautiful, free-flowing football. And then when that stopped and you couldn't score, because you can play as much beautiful, free-flowing football as possible, like City do, but if you don't put the ball in the back of the net, you can't win. The most you can get is a draw if you don't score. Or at least create chances to score, and they go in the net via an own goal or your own player scoring. I think West Brom will end up steadying the ship, and I think they might end up accumulating enough points to be safe, because I think over a long period of time, Sam Allardyce, his managerial experience has shown that he can do that. Whether he has enough time to do that, we will see. And whether he can get them playing well, we'll have to see on that front too. Fulham have been playing well. I think Fulham are in a better nick of form. And I think they can, if they keep playing well, their form is going to probably be better than Brighton's. So my thing is that Fulham and West Brom stay up. I think Sheffield United and Brighton go down. And I think, this is me personally, Arsenal are in trouble. They're in real big trouble. I think Newcastle and Palace and Leeds, their defense is very bad at times, but I think they have enough firepower to just beat Brighton, beat Fulham, beat West Ham, beat Sheffield United when they play them, or at least do enough to win the game. But I think that basically it's going to be Sheffield United, Brighton, and I think either, based on current form, Arsenal, Fulham, and West Brom. But I think that Fulham will do well. I think West Brom can do well. But based on what I'm seeing from Arsenal, I mean, if you think about it, had Arsenal not beaten Man United, which, let's be honest, United should have definitely won the game, had they come out and just not been, tactically outfought, basically. Arsenal would only be 1 point above relegation right now. They'd be on 11 points. Another thing to note, Burnley has a game in hand versus United, which they can easily get a point from, which puts them level on points with Arsenal. But I think Burnley's been there. They've done that. They're not going to get relegated. They know how to beat teams. They know that they can frustrate them. They know when the defense is on point, apart from Man City. They will keep clean sheets. And when you keep a clean sheet, you guarantee yourself points. Or a point, at least. So like Burnley, out of all the teams in the Premier League, I expect them, when they're at home at least, to keep a clean sheet versus pretty much everyone from 10th downwards. So West Ham downwards, I think they could probably keep a clean sheet versus, or they have the potential to. Leeds, Wolves, West Ham, probably going to be a bit trickier, but they can still do it. But I think it's definitely a bit tricky for the teams that are currently down from 15th and below. I think Palace could potentially get sucked into it, but I think with the way Zaha and Benteke are playing, I think they should be okay. And I think in order to be safe from relegation, for sure this season, I think if you get 30, 35 points, you should be alright. It's going to be a lot lower scoring of a points tally this season. Even at the top as well. I think the amount of points to win the league this season is probably going to be around 80 or so, I would think. Now Liverpool look like they've beaten Palace. They beat Palace, pretty good, and they may just go on that run of form where they were just untouchable, basically. Even with the injuries that they have, but they're getting a lot of support back with Thiago coming back soon, Shaqiri, Milner, these sorts of players. Chelsea should beat Arsenal tonight. They should. Chelsea should slap Arsenal. There should be no reason why Chelsea shouldn't demolish Arsenal. And if we actually look at, you know, Arsenal's next fixtures, you know, they have Chelsea in a few days' time, on the 29th. They have to worry about playing Brighton. That could be massive. If Brighton gets 3 points out of that, Arsenal are really in trouble. And then they play West Brom. Let's say, hypothetically, Arsenal lose to Chelsea. They lose to Brighton because last season, Brighton won both games, I believe, over Arsenal. And let's say Brighton beat Arsenal for whatever reason, or at least pick up a point. And then West Brom draw with Arsenal. Then you're looking at a situation where, after those 3 games, who does Fulham have? Fulham have Southampton. They'll probably lose that. They'll probably lose the Spurs. Maybe they pick up a point at Burnley. So they're looking at 1 extra point. Arsenal's maybe looking at 1 extra point. So Fulham would be on what, 11? Brighton would jump past Arsenal. Burnley will probably win versus Sheffield United, and they pick up a point versus Fulham, so they're looking at 4 extra points. So they're on 17. They'll be up ahead of Arsenal. So Burnley will jump Arsenal. Brighton will jump Arsenal. Fulham will be within 3 points touching distance. You know, it's starting to get a bit hairy, but I think ultimately at the end of the day, I think what will save, you know, Arsenal and, you know, anyone from 10th to 15th probably currently, is that Sheffield United are so bad that they're just a guaranteed 1 in the bucket. So it's basically it's 2 people getting relegated rather than 3, because Sheffield United's pretty much set in stone for the most part. And West Brom could definitely pick up points. I mean, they could frustrate Arsenal, get a point. They play Wolves. They could potentially frustrate them, get a point, who haven't been in good form. West Ham don't typically play the most free-flowing attacking football. Maybe they get a point there. Maybe they can nick 1 over Fulham. They could definitely beat Sheffield United. They frustrated Spurs to only make them score 1 the last time they played. United only scored once versus them. Maybe they get a point from Burnley. They could beat Brighton. Newcastle's inconsistent. Maybe they get a point there. You know, the West Brom could pick up points with Sam Allardyce in charge. And that's what he's there to do. Pick up points and keep them out of relegation. The only problem is their goal difference is atrocious. So, that's the real problem that they have. They've conceded 1 less goal than Leeds, who have conceded the most in the league. Except the difference is West Brom's conceded 29, Leeds have conceded 30. But Leeds have also scored 14 more goals than they have. So that's where Leeds do it good, basically. They play attacking style football. They have the majority of the possession. And they ultimately do what you're supposed to do the most in football, which is score, because that's how you win. Yeah, overall looking at these stats, West Brom is definitely worse than Newcastle, but De Bruyne's underlying stats show that he's a good pick too. So if you do go for De Bruyne, don't feel bad, especially if you have Salah in your team. I think if you have Salah in your team, the decision's kind of a no-brainer. If you want to be a little bit, I think it's a big differential if you have Salah in your team and you pick De Bruyne, just because of the fact that De Bruyne's team in Man City haven't been playing well or scoring chances when they should have, whereas Liverpool have been scoring chances when they shouldn't have, which is dangerous. Because they are getting the chances, but they're just being so clinical, which is what you want to see. Which is why a lot of people were threatened by Kane and Son, the way they were playing. Because of the fact that when Kane and Son's like XG and XGI, like their expected goal involvement non-penalty from open play is like 0.1, and Son scored twice in that time because he's just that good. Same with Kane. You know, and that's why they could be a, are included in our teams. Form over fixtures. That's the age-old argument in fantasy Premier League. Yeah, I'm just gonna take one more look to see if there's anything on Southampton injury news, just to see if there's anything coming out of the old woodwork here, as it were. Yeah, it's just the stuff from 2 days ago, so. Don't see anything. Here, do I see anything on Twitter potentially? Let's see. Yeah, I don't see anything, unfortunately, which is a bit annoying because I really, 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 really would like Calvert-Lewin if I knew Ings was out 100%. If I knew he was out 100%, I would definitely take him out, but I don't. Let's see if there's a... Let's see, is there anything on Danny Ings? Danny Ings. Oh, Danny Ings. Some people are saying he'd miss out. Yeah, I think Danny Ings might be out, but I'd rather not take the 4 points because last time he came off the bench, he did score. So I'm just gonna have to leave him in there, and hopefully he plays. Personally, I've trusted him this long. Might have to just leave him in there because I don't want to take a minus. Because if I take a -4 and I see Danny Ings start, you know, on the if he's on the team sheet for Southampton versus Fulham, I'm gonna be bricking the entire game. Especially if he if he's on the team sheet, because then I'm just gonna be, yeah, it's not gonna be good. I'm not gonna be impressed because of I've had him in my team. I've stuck by him, and if he doesn't play, Burke will come in, and I'll just root against Everton because I'm gonna root against Calvert-Lewin anyway. So, and then worst case scenario, we go Kilman deep, as it were, on our bench. So hopefully not too bad overall. So that's the 9 minutes left. Lineup wise, how are we looking for positioning of our players? Because if there's anything that I like to take pride in, is how my team sets up on the field. So if you look at the way I like to do the color coordination of the shirts. So we have a lot of red shirts, put them in the center of the pitch. We got Grealish and Kufau, kind of similar, with the claret and blue. We got Bamford and Ayling on the same side. We put De Bruyne because he's a lighter colored shirt with the light blue there, just to get the color coordination going. Get a little bit of matching, get a little bit of stuff going on here. And also sometimes I like to put them in their position, but I also like to have my captain captain and vice captain as like the two people in the middle. But if Salah for whatever reason doesn't play, which he will, I definitely want De Bruyne as my vice captain. So, and we're gonna keep Fernandes in the center of the screen here. But yeah, I think that I think we're gonna keep Ings. I think we're just gonna hang on to him. I can't risk the -4, and then he does play because I'm just gonna be, because if every time he touches the ball, I'm gonna be like, I'll be like, give it to Adams, give it to Adams, and then I have to wait to see if DCL does well versus Sheffield United, which I think he will, and he probably will hurt me. But if Ings plays, I think he can also do well. So we'll have to see. Hasanudo said a couple of days ago they didn't train, so we'll have to see kind of how that goes. I think if Ings is ready, even 70%, I think he plays. But again, it's a matter of will he be, in full match sharpness, as it were. And that's kind of the problem. Will he be fully fit and ready to go? So I'm not going to take the hit. I'm going to leave him in there. We're going to stick by him. And yeah. Lastly, let's go through quickly what I'm thinking for a potential wildcard team. So this is going to get a bit dicey really quickly here. So let's move him out, Ayling gone. I've been trying to find a team with to keep Robertson in it because it is a bit tricky to do so. So let's see if we can craft one up for that. Grealish would go. Ings would definitely go. We would keep Adams. So the only 5 players that I would probably consider keeping, obviously, is... Oh, no, Fernandes definitely stays. What am I doing? Taylor, Robertson, Kufal, Salah, Bamford, Adams. We would have Harry Kane, obviously. We would have Son. We would have... check. As his new name has been coined, we'd have Rafinha, if I spell it right. We would have Johnston. We would have Melier. Can we stretch it? Zuma? No, we can't. So we'd have Zuma. I think we'd have to have Zuma over Robertson. But if this is the case, that means I have to go with a 4-6 and a 4-5 for defenders. So, double game week players. I mean, Dallas would be good. Problem is, I would then have 4 Leeds players, which you can't have, obviously. But we would pick Balbuena's good, so that would leave a 4-7 defender. Defenders 4-8. Let's see. So Dallas would be perfect, but then we'd have to change our goalkeeper. Which we could do if we wanted to. Maybe we could go Bednarek. We could go Walker Peters. There are many different options we can go for. Like Walker Peters' fixtures is like West Ham at home, Liverpool at home, which isn't great. And then Leicester and Leeds away isn't great either, but they do play better away from home. Bednarek would be like someone who could potentially score from like a set piece or something. But instead of Melier, if we wanted to, we could just go McCarthy, who's 4-6, who could potentially go up in price tonight. I think he's the closest. Would be McCarthy in goal, and then we would go with Dallas. So something like that is what I'm currently looking at. So we would have basically all double game week players, and then in game week 17, we would make 1 transfer. So this will be the interesting thing. So we have Wolves at home. United have Wolves at home in 16, and they have Aston Villa at home in 17. And they obviously have their double game week. And 18 will be free hitting. Son and Kane both have Leeds in 17. Whereas Leicester in 17 have Newcastle away, which seems to be very good for Jamie Vardy. So what I was thinking is the most likely person to burn Leeds is Son, just because he's higher owned. So what we would do is we would get rid of Kane, get Vardy for that game week, because Vardy Newcastle away is still a good fixture, and we can still captain Son if we wanted to. In 17. We can captain Kane. We can captain. Son rather. We can captain Vardy. We can captain Bruno if we want to. And then we would take Son out for anyone who's 10.6 really. We could go. We can go to Rashford, who obviously has a double game week. If we wanted to take a hit, we could somehow probably swing away to get Mane. But I mean, we have double Liverpool with Robertson and Salah. That's what we kind of went for there. But yeah, see what are we looking at time wise? So we got less than a minute. So yeah, that's kind of pretty much what we're looking for. We basically want to bring in VAR. We want to have a full double game week team. So we'd have because Johnson and McCarthy both have a double game week. Or this could be Meslier and this could be a different defender other than Dallas. We'd have Taylor, Balbuena, Robertson, Kufal, Rashford, Salah, Souček, Fernandes, Rafinha, Adams, Bamford. And now if we didn't have him and we had, let's say, Zuma, we could go to Mane with exact money. So we go from Son to Mane for the double game week if we wanted to. We could potentially do that. But yeah, let's just make sure our team's in order here. So we're playing with Ings. We're sticking with him. And yeah, that should be the deadline. Salah captained. Sanchez, Ayling, Robertson, Kufal, De Bruyne, Fernandes, Salah, Grealish, Bamford, Adams, and Ings are in the team. If Ings doesn't play, then Burke will come on and we'll be rooting for Sheffield United somehow. In the last games of the day with Taylor and Kilman. Taylor's going to play, so I have no problems with points coming off the bench, and the rest of the players are going to play for sure. So yeah, should be fine. Let's see if the site breaks. Looks like it has. Please try again later. That's usually what happens. But yes, thank you all for joining the deadline stream. Let's move over to the big screen. Thank you all for joining the deadline stream here. Also want to make a shout out to Ratchet0405 and Michael and Hannah. I think that's how you pronounce that name. Could be wrong. Thank you for following. Also, if you haven't done so already, give us a follow over on Twitter. We will be back here tomorrow, 7 p.m. EST. I'm on the wild card, and yeah, make sure to come check us out for that. It's just going to be a general tinkering stream. If anyone wants to ask questions in the chat and they're on their wild card, make sure to ask those in the chat as well. So it's going to be more of a tinkering stream. We'll do a little bit of the preview stuff like we normally do. So like my predictions for the weekend, that sort of stuff. We'll try to get those quick and done and out of the way with, so we can spend the majority of time messing around with the old wild cards. So yeah, make sure to check us out for that. And then we'll be back the next day with the deadline stream for the 28th as well. So quick turnaround this week. So yeah, thanks for watching, and until the next one, take care.